Okay, so we have another interesting position.
Okay, so this is actually a very funny example. This is,
Hmm.
if I look at this position, it's pretty common in games. You know, the castles and the knight on f3 is it's a pretty common position.
Yeah, this is
And
definitely
then
something that looks like it comes from a real game. That's
what
yeah.
this might sound very stupid, but what I do here very often, and this might actually lose me a lot of games,
Hmm.
is I take the pawn on e3 with the bishop to open up his king. If he takes, that's what I do.
Um,
I'll
yeah, that's depends on the game. In a bullet game, those ideas are quite good because your opponent doesn't have a lot of time to think, and you're attacking. So in a bullet game, things like that definitely should come to mind. In a rapid game or even slower, like a classical game, you really need to calculate. Okay, what if he takes? Do I actually have something? Go into that whole line, and also in a puzzle, right? If you want to play a move like that, you need to calculate. You can't play it on intuition. In a bullet game, I agree. Um, but yeah, especially in a puzzle, you really need to follow up. So let's say takes. Yeah, do you have anything there?
g8 check, but then he can just escape. So it's
Yeah, so
basically
his king has two
it's
moves,
nonsense to do.
and then there's not much left to do. I mean, you can sacrifice your rook as well, but yeah, you're not gaining anything there. So that's not the correct move. Um,
Well, the other thing that I see here is I can trade the queens.
right.
Um,
So remember the checklist, right? Checks, captures, attacks. We don't have any checks. You've looked at one capture,
no.
so look at other captures. So taking the queen is indeed something you need to look at. So let's say you take the queen. What does he do?
He takes back with knight.
Yeah, right. And do you have anything there?
Um, Not really. I think. Uh, wait, these are knight. Yeah, I can attack the knight with rook on d8, but other than that, I don't see anything else.
Yeah. Uh, you can, and this is quite a difficult one because in the most positions that doesn't work. Um, you can actually make another attack. So you notice this threat which doesn't work. Do you have any other attacks in that position?
The position right now, like the current position, or the
No,
position
the
after I take
position
the queen.
after the queen trade. So the knight is on d2. So can you attack?
Yeah, yeah, I can go to pawn a4, and if he takes, I take his rook. Then
Yeah, but
I lose the
that
rook
rook
as
is
well.
defended by the
Yeah,
other
okay.
rook.
Yeah, okay.
It does mess up his pawn structure, but that's not something a puzzle would would go into.
I'm really not seeing it, to be honest.
Yeah. Uh, I don't
It's
I don't know
probably
how to
very
steer
obvious.
you in the right direction without giving it away at this point. But maybe I should just explain it. Okay, so after queen takes, knight takes, you actually have bishop b4. You're attacking the knight.
Oh yeah, double attacks the knight.
Yeah, and
Oh
if the
yeah,
knight
okay.
moves, you're attacking the other knight. And why I said usually that doesn't work because after takes, usually if knights are attacked like that, one knight can move, but now there's a pawn there to defend the other knight. But in this case, he can't because that pawn is preventing him from doing that. So he can't move one knight to defend the other knight. So he's gonna lose one of his
Okay.
knights. So yeah, let's just play that out. It's a difficult one to see. So yeah, and again, you should always do some blunder checks on this position after you take the knight. Does he have something? Well, in this case, he doesn't. Right, this knight
No, he doesn't.
doesn't
No.
really threaten anything. He can bring in a rook, but yeah, that doesn't threaten anything as well. We can just move the bishop back. So that's the right idea. So next one.
Oh wow. Um, Actually, well, the first thing I should look at is checks. So
Correct.
I have a few checks. I have pawn to f3. I have rook to g3, which makes no sense. I have rook to g2, which also makes no sense. Um,
Right. So usually you start indeed calculating the check that makes the most sense initially, right? So you said f3 seems to makes the most sense out of those. So
yeah,
what can
because then he goes to f1 or no f. Yeah, he goes to f1, and I
Yeah,
can take the
he
rook.
has two moves there, g1 or f1, because
Yeah,
these squares
but then I can still take the
are all
rook
blocked.
because my rook's protected by h8.
Yeah, so you have the rook battery here, and you're not just winning a rook, by the way. Don't know if you
That's
noticed.
also checkmate.
Yeah, because the pawn is also preventing his
Defending that square, yeah.
escape square. So this is indeed a checkmate, and he even goes to g8. Yeah, was g2. I don't know if it was black or white, but yeah, it's that was checkmate indeed. So the next one, interesting position again.
He has a threat, so I need to gain momentum. So I have multiple checks here, but
You
I
do,
think
yep.
I do see the right sequence to force him into a corner.
Okay, so
Um,
let's hear it.
my first check would be e6 with rook.
Which rook?
The rook on e7.
Right, okay.
Actually, no, because then he can go up. So no, okay.
Right.
So my I think I would go to d5 pawn.
Okay, so let's go back. d5, right. What does he do?
Nah, no, I don't think that's the right one as well. Because he can go to c5,
Yeah, there's a lot to
b6.
calculate there. So usually that's a sign that, especially at the lower rated puzzles, that's usually a sign it's not the right move, right? You can go there, can go there, can go there. Now you need to calculate 3 more lines. So usually, if nothing else works, you can come back to that. But usually it's better to start looking if there's
Oh,
something easier.
I see a checkmate.
Yeah, okay, so
Yeah,
let's hear it.
e6, a rook on e1 to
Yeah,
e6.
that's why I asked which rook. Because that's actually checkmate. You should notice that the pawns are actually doing a perfect job of keeping the king sheltered. So the king only
Yeah.
has 2 squares, and you can yeah, basically cover these 2 squares with one move. So that's indeed a checkmate.
Oh.
But then it was a pretty tough one. But sometimes, yeah, these puzzle ratings are off.
We're
Like,
switching it up.
yeah. And like this puzzle, I think should be lower rated than the ones we
This
have
is
seen. But yeah,
400. It's queen to e4. Checkmate. Right?
queen to e4, that's illegal.
No, wait, what? Oh, sorry, e1.
I don't remember the queens moving like knights, but yeah, you're correct. That's just
Sorry,
checkmate.
queen e1.
Yeah, okay. So we're on 23 already. Doing pretty well. So
If I move my rook, I get checkmated, so that's not good. The rook should stay there.
Mm-hmm.
I can capture the rook with my bishop.
Yeah,
And then
so
if
that's
queen captures, I can take back.
yeah. So your bishop is
But
actually defended by your queen. So you're basically winning a rook there, which already looks pretty good.
but I have the feeling that we're looking for a mate here. It's a
Yeah,
shame that my queen is not on the g file.
yeah. So what you should calculate is okay, checked, right? Only check you have is this. So let's go through the checklist again. That doesn't really look like it does anything because you can take 2 ways and you're just losing a queen. Okay. So then captures. Well, you can capture this rook. You can capture it 2 ways actually. So with the bishop and with the queen.
Yeah. I think with the queen, you're probably force a queen trade because then you can take the queen as well. But so the best way would be to take with the bishop.
Yeah. There's another reason why taking with the bishop is best. Do you notice anything else in that position? So you already saw.
Yeah, I do. Sorry. I attack the
Mhm.
queen as well, so the queen has to move.
Yeah. Just one more thing, okay? So you're attacking the queen, but you're actually attacking something else as well. In fact, you're already attacking it in the starting position, but
D2. The rook
yeah,
the
right.
rook attacks D2.
So you have two things to calculate, right? If you go for the captures, you can capture the rook, capture the bishop. If you capture the bishop first, he can take your queen and then go for checkmate, right? So that doesn't work. But if you take the rook, now you're attacking both his queen and his bishop. And he actually can save both, right? Usually his queen would maybe like to go to b4 to protect the bishop, but that's covered by a pawn. And yeah, he can't move his queen anywhere to protect the bishop. So basically we're just gonna take the bishop. Just one thing to note, it's not gonna be checkmate, right? You might think, okay, if the queen moves, I take his bishop. We have some back rank problems, but the rook can actually drop back and it's defended by our queen.
Yeah.
So that's never checkmate, and we're actually gonna win two pieces here. So we're gonna first win the rook.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, this is something. Something. Sometimes they do have an interesting response. So here we need to calculate a bit again. I didn't think of this response as well. So what are our options?
If I take on G5, he takes my bishop.
Yeah, right. So you can trade bishops, and at that point, we both have queens, we both have rooks. It's an equal position, and this is a puzzle, so it's probably not going to end in an equal position. So that kind of gives away that that's probably not the thing to do. So what else can we do?
Actually, I could go to G6 with my queen, because if he takes a rook, I threaten checkmate.
That's actually an interesting idea.
That's my way of thinking.
Yeah, no, it's
You can't move.
actually quite interesting. That would be quite a nice tactic. It might even work. It's not the best move, I think, but right, he doesn't have to move his bishop. He can
Yeah, but then I
try
take
to
his
defend
queen.
it.
And my bishop is still
You take
protected
his
if
queen.
I go to G6.
Yeah, right. So that's the thing. I'm just looking if that's best. Because my intuition was actually to take the queen. Because after he takes the queen, you take the bishop and you're just up a bishop. But this might actually be better.
We might lose one here.
Yeah, there's a lot of counterplay, I think, for white. Because you can now attack your rook. So you don't have time to take the bishop because he would be checkmating you. So now you need to calculate that. Okay, he moves there to attack your rook. You need to move your rook away somehow. I don't know, there. And now you're not attacking his queen anymore. So I don't know if that's.
I think that the puzzles are about momentum, so I don't think my move is correct because.
Yeah. So this is at least the clearest one, right? You know, you're just up a piece here. Maybe you can get something better, but the other thing to note is if you go here and he just leaves his bishop there and just moves his queen, you have the same problem. Anytime you take here, he's gonna take your bishop or your rook. So he probably can just leave his bishop there because if you take, your bishop is hanging, and yeah, that's just too slow. So it's probably just
your
taking
idea
here.
is best here.
Yeah, so let's go for that. But it was a good way of thinking, actually. That was a nice move to find. And in a lot of positions that might be the solution as well. Oh, this is actually quite a nice one. I like these kind of tactics. So might be difficult to spot, but let's see if you can find it.
I think there's I do think I do find it. So the sequence I was immediately thinking of is bishop takes f7, queen takes
f8, you mean?
and then
or f7. Oh, sorry, you have two bishops, yeah? Bishop f7.
Then queen takes. Then I take g6 with queen. Check.
Right.
And queen takes, I take with rook.
Right. And now the king can go to f7 or h7.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was my the first way of thinking. Sack with the bishop and just
Yeah.
That's probably not it. Actually, no. This is fair. No, I'm actually very stupid. This is I can go to g6 with queen because he can't take with pawn because it's
Yeah, so
pinned.
that's the
By the
thing to
bishop.
notice here. This pawn is pinned. So you were quite kind of on
Yeah.
the right track. You wanted to take here, but you thought this pawn was defending, so you wanted to get rid of that first. But actually, that pawn isn't defending because it's pinned. And that's why this is a nice tactic. But just to continue, what can you do after you take the pawn?
He goes to h8 and then I go to g7 as checkmate.
Right, okay, so let's play that. And it doesn't even let us play it out, but that was the right sequence. Okay, so this is another position where we're down a lot of material. So we kind of already know that it's going to be some kind of checkmate or something.
Okay, so
or we need to win a
if I
lot
go
of
over your
material.
checklist, if I go over your checklist, there's 2 checks.
Well, there's actually a lot of checks, right? This is check, this is check,
Yeah.
this is check, this is check,
Yeah,
this
but
is check,
the
this
checks
is
where I
check.
can get captured.
Yeah, right.
So the uncapturable
This
checks are e4 with queen, e4,
Yeah,
and then rook to g4.
Yeah. So those are usually the ones you look at first. So when a check comes with a capture, that's usually the thing to look at first because that's the most forcing move, right? So let's calculate that first. So rook takes h4.
Well, I think
g4.
If I take on g4, he either has to block with the knight, but then I can just take with the queen.
Yeah, that just loses the knight.
He's forced into a corner, and then queen to h3 would be checkmate.
Yeah, he can actually go to h2 as well.
Yeah.
With the king.
But then I just go to. Then I can go to g4, rook.
Right. So he can go back.
And then I come to h3. And then you can go to f.
With the queen?
Okay, that's.
Yeah, but
if my rook is on h4, I can, but then you can just escape.
Yeah, right. So those are things to calculate, right? So the king moves. If you go there, he goes back. This looks like a good check, but it looks like he's escaping. I agree. No, I don't really think there is anything there.
Oh, actually.
Yeah.
No. Knight can take. No.
Yeah.
It's not a good idea.
Okay, so like I said before, go back to the last time you had to make a decision, right? So you take the bishop with check, the king moves. Can we do anything else? Oh, actually, the last decision would be after rook check, king back to g2. Do we have another move here?
The first move?
No, so after rook 6 g4, king h2, rook h4, king back to g2. Now, we wanted to play queen h3, and it didn't really seem to work.
Queen e4. Queen e4.
Yeah, queen e4, so that's another check. So the king can still run there.
Escapes. Yeah. Yeah, this is
so maybe it's something else, right? So here, king goes here. And do we have anything else in that position? I don't think we do, by the way, but I'm just thinking as well.
No, actually, I don't think we do. Because my other rook can't come in.
Right. So maybe there still is something here, right? We were worried about the king escaping, but maybe there is something we should be checking there. I'm not seeing it as well, but my intuition is telling me that this must be the right move.
Because if I go to g4, the king can't go to f2, so it forces him to the other way.
Yeah.
It forces him to the corner. That's my first.
It might also be a quiet move. That's what I'm looking at right now. So let's say the king moves here and you just bring in your other rook. Does he have any way to defend? Because now you're threatening to come in here with check and then checkmate the next move. So can he
He
defend
can't
that threat?
defend with knight. No, yeah, he can with knight, but just take the knight. So no.
Yeah, right. And he can bring his rook over to that file, but our queen and our two rooks are all attacking there. So yeah, that's not gonna help him. In fact, that would be even checkmate.
He should just.
So I think it's a quiet move, and those are always difficult to find. But I think we just bring our rook to g8.
I think we take on g4 and then bring a rook to d8 or g8 and then
Yeah,
double
because
up the attack.
we're actually also threatening rook h4 now, which would be checkmate in that position, and I don't see any way for him to defend that.
Yeah,
so that's difficult
I
to find
agree.
because you're checking and your intuition is to keep checking in some way, and but I think it's just a quiet
Oh no,
move.
actually no.
Oh, well.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, you're better than I am. Just to go back because that's actually an interesting.
All right, so now I would go for a check first with that rook on h4, and then
Oh, of
bring
course. Yeah, I completely. Okay, so that's also something to note. If something doesn't work, you can usually try to use a different move order for the same thing. So indeed, after this, we have the other rook, and that was what we missed. So I'm sorry,
So
but
Yes, no worries.
but I'm glad you're seeing it. We're training you, not me. So so this is also a nice one.
This is easy. This is easy, I think.
Yeah. So let's hear it.
Rook. I take rook on b7. I take that first. Why do I do that? Because then I can take the rook on b1 and it's not defended anymore. And then he can block with queen without it to take his queen and I win. So I would take on b7.
Right.
And
what does he do?
Well, if he takes back, then he's in check. Then he's checkmate forced. So
yeah. But is he forced to take back?
Yeah, because if I take the rook, then it's another forced checkmate. The other rook.
Yeah. But let's say you take and he just moves his rook here.
Oh, that's very smart.
You're down a lot of material in this position, so just winning a rook is probably not enough.
Okay, so then I would probably sack my queen on c1. And if he takes, I take the other rook. And
so after you take here, you mean?
No, wait.
That's actually an important thing to note here, which we had in other positions. Which is his
check with knight on f7, but
and I think you noticed this already, but you just need to think a little bit more about this. So his king is already weak. He still has some back rank problems, right? If you could somehow get to his back rank, it would be checkmate.
Yeah, I just take the rook on b1 with queen.
Yeah. So that's a difficult one to find because you might think that he has some checks, but he doesn't because this comes with check, so he needs to respond here. And yeah, there's not much he can do. I mean, he can block with his queen, but that just loses the queen and his checkmate as well.
If I take that rook now, I remove the defender.
Yeah, right. So that's
back. Yeah, okay.
It's a correct move. And yeah, now it's kind of obvious, right?
Yeah, take b1 and then queen blocks and then take queen.
Yeah. So that was a nice one. But this is an interesting one, actually. So this is a tactic actually performed by White, right? He does a discovered attack, attacking your queen and checking. So you can't move your queen because you're in check as well. I mean, you can move it to e1, but you're losing your queen as well.
I hate this.
Yeah.
It's really
so you know you're in check, so look at all the ways you can get out of check.
Oh, I would definitely not defend with my knight because the knight has the attack on the queen. So I would leave that knight on d5.
Mm-hmm.
So I can defend with bishop. I can defend with queen. Yeah, that was it.
So
Or I
both
could just
moves
take
look
the queen. Or,
right. And that's actually the thing you should notice. Usually with a discovered attack, you're always looking at the piece that's moving, right? So you're looking there and it's check, I need to block. But
I
actually
got
you
it.
can
I got it.
the queen is the piece that's checking you.
Because the follow-up after I take the queen could be a fork on c2.
Yeah, so after you take the queen, he can do multiple things, right? He can take back your knight, but then you can save your queen. So that's
Yep.
easy, you've just won that queen. So the line to calculate is, what if they take your queen? Right? If you take the knight, they take your knight, and you've just traded a lot of pieces. But you were on the right track, right? So they take your queen, what do you do?
Go to c2.
Right, so you have knight c2 check. And
And
let's say
I win a rook.
the king goes here.
And I win a rook.
Yeah, so you can take the rook. And this knight is actually still on d8. And he can't save that knight as well. So it's trapped. Now your knight is also trapped because you can't move back. So, but yeah, you've won a rook, so that's good. So let's play that out. So here, take the rook. And yeah, he just does a desperado because he can at least take a pawn for the knight. But yeah, you've just won a rook, so we take the knight, and that's
Is
it.
that called a desperado?
Yeah, that's actual the actual chess term, yeah. Because they know they're gonna lose a piece anyway, so they might as well take a pawn for it. That's the basic idea.
All right, I think this one here is very sequence related.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Actually, let's look at the threats first. My king is in a pretty good position because I put the pawn on h6, so I have an escape.
Yeah.
His pawns are blocking his rook to attack me.
Mm-hmm.
But
so let's go through the checklist again. Remember?
Checks.
Yeah. So just look at first. Look at all the checks you have.
Knight e2, queen e3, rook g2, queen f1. I don't see why you would do that, but okay.
Yeah, but you should look at all of them, and most of them you can discard very quickly. But it's good to look at all of them. You've actually missed quite an important one. It might be confusing with all the arrows. Let's take them away.
Did I miss queen e3?
No, you've said that.
Okay. Now where is the important one?
So you saw this one, this one, this one, and this one, I believe. And I think there's one more check. And that's actually the one you... It's a queen move. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah. Of course, this is E2 or F2, sorry.
Yeah. So queen f2. That's a check you missed. And well, let's calculate that line further. It's not a long one, so
and then he goes to he can't go to H1, so he has to go to H2.
Yeah, correct. Knight is covering H1.
And then I just take the pawn because it's on G2 because it's covered by the rook.
That's just checkmate. And even though his rook is here and it looks like he's defending, your own rook is in the way, so you can deliver the checkmate there. So that's it. It even stops there, but yeah, that's the checkmate. We're at 28 right now, so doing very well. Let's see if we can get to 30. That would be a nice goal for today, I think.
Okay.
So,
right. I need to look at checks, but I don't think there is any.
No, there's no checks. But that's a good thing. So you're remembering the checklist, right? What's the next thing on the checklist?
Captures. So
right.
I could capture knight on E2. I could take Rook on f4. I could take pawn on b2.
Yeah, those are all the
That was it.
captures you have.
Yeah.
So let's calculate them. Do they work? So let's say you take the knight.
I lose the queen.
Yeah, you lose the queen.
If I take the
But
rook, I lose the queen.
if you take the rook, you lose the queen like that. You should always look if you have some follow-ups. But yeah, his king is pretty safe here. Actually, it's defended very well. He doesn't really have back rank problems. Yeah, and he doesn't really have back rank problems here, although his pawns are here, but his queen as well as his rook are on the back rank, so you're not getting to that back rank anytime soon. So that tells you that
b2.
Yeah, and that wins a pawn, and usually in a puzzle, winning a pawn isn't enough, and he can even take your pawn, so it's just a trade basically, or this pawn, so doesn't really do a lot. So is there something else you can do? So basically we've covered checks and captures, right? What's the next thing on the list?
Threats.
Yeah.
So
can you attack something?
Yeah, I could go bishop to d6.
Yeah, bishop d6. That's a very reasonable move to find.
Because it also attacks the square on h2, which is risky for him. So,
yeah, although it's not... if your pawn wasn't here, that would be nice, but in this case, that pawn is defended by the king, and that's probably defense enough. But it's a thing to consider, right? Because, yeah, what would this response be? No, actually, he can do a lot of things, right? He can move his rook here. He can attack your queen even because you've blocked your rook. So he can go here because it's defended by the knight. Now you need to move your queen. So it's getting tricky.
Alright, so what I do... This is a tough one, but I also could go to the rook to d4. So I attack the rook. If he takes, I take his rook back.
Yeah, remember that the square is defended twice. So you're just losing a rook there. So he can take with the knight immediately, then you're taking his rook. But if he takes with his rook first, then the knight is still defending and his knight is still defended. So you've just lost the rook. So that's not the right move.
What about rook to e6? The other rooks, the rook on h6. What if I move that to e6?
To e6. So yeah, that's indeed a threat. So that's something to calculate, right? So you're attacking the knight. So you need to somehow defend his knight or move his knight or do something about it.
Yeah, because if he doesn't move, I could just take it. And then if he takes with queen, I take his queen. And then I can take the rook as well. So I think that's the right move. I go to e6.
Yeah,
he has to move his knight.
Right, so there's two things he can do. He can defend his knight some more, so maybe move his other rook over. Or he can move his knight somewhere. I don't know where, I'm just making a move.
Then he loses a rook.
Yeah, so if he moves his knight, that's probably the easiest one. He loses the rook. And he can't move his knight somewhere that defends the rook. So there's that. But let's say he defends the knight. Now you can't take the rook because he's still defending. Can you do something else? So rook here, rook here.
I could still take the knight.
Yeah,
and
correct.
then trade rooks.
Yeah, basically that's the thing. So you're winning a knight in that version, right?
Sequence,
because you're taking a knight, he's taking back either with the rook or with the queen, and you're taking a rook.
Yeah.
Just one thing to notice here, I just noticed that. If he goes here, you take here, he takes with the queen. After you take the rook, he has this check on e7. So he wins our bishop and he is attacking our rook. So I think we need to calculate some more.
Okay.
I feel like we were on the right track, but then I saw that variation. So rook comes here. It looks like you can take, And if he takes with the rook, you can just win the rook. But in that position, if we take and he takes with the queen, he's actually attacking our bishop here.
I feel like we need to do something with the rook on d8 as well.
And I actually think I see it, and I kind of misled you. After rook goes here... oh no, that doesn't even work. I mean, there are some follow-ups. It's getting kind of tricky, but yeah, let's hear what you have to say.
I would definitely go rook e6. Then
Yeah,
he
and
defends.
then?
I would go bishop to what square is that? b4.
Yeah, that's actually what I was seeing as well. So now you're attacking that rook, and basically he still has the same.
The attack of the queen.
Yeah. So now he can go here attacking your queen, but then you win the knight because it's still defended by your rook. And if he leaves his rook there, he just loses a rook. So I feel like that's the correct one. So should we go for that?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. And that's always what you see in these puzzles. They go for the easy move. Okay, so let's take the rook here. That's
all right.
You feel accomplished by calculating these difficult lines, and then they just play the easy line. But yeah, okay. It's always good to calculate these things, so no worries. So we're at 29. So shall we make this the last one? I think 30 is
Let's do it.
Is a nice one, and I think you've got some right ideas to improve your puzzling. At least a checklist is something I think can help you a lot. So let's see. So it's white to move here. And black has a lot of threats.
Yeah, I see it. It's actually a pretty easy one. A lot of people would do is they would take the rook on d8, but then the queen just takes back. So what I would do is I would sack my queen.
It's just a trade, right? So where do you sack your queen?
I would sack e8.
Right. And that's a tough move to find, but it's yeah. And then rook takes.
And then I take the rook, and the escape of the king is covered by bishop on e4.
So that's the most important thing to notice, that even though it looks like he has a luft, as we call that, the bishop is covering that. So again, he has back rank problems, and it's another queen sack, which is nice. So let's actually do one more, because this was a pretty quick one. So let's end it with this one, which is, I think, a nice way to end, because it looks like this is a position where a lot is going on. Again, I don't know how you would end up in this position, but
I think it's a checkmate in one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
No, I don't think it is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so let's hear your move.
Yeah. Oh no, it's no. I see it. I see it. It's defended by the bishop. Okay.
So you wanted to go queen d1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No,
if the bishop wasn't there, that would be checkmate.
Indeed, that would be checkmate. Yeah, because the queen would be covering that, the bishop would be covering this. Queen here, rook here. But unfortunately, the bishop is there. So one thing we could consider is taking a bishop, because now we are threatening that checkmate. But it does give our opponent time to do something, and he can do a lot. He can start checking us, he can take our rook. Well, if he takes our rook, that's still checkmate, but he can start checking us, and I don't really see a way to get out of this check. So probably we need to be quicker. So let's go over the checklist again. What checks do we have?
Right, first we have checks. So we have a lot, actually. We have rook to c2, rook to d1. We have bishop to e3. We have queen to d1. We have queen to c1.
C1?
That was it, I think. Yeah, we have bishop to...
We don't have queen c1. You meant e1?
Yeah, sorry, e1.
Yeah.
And then We also have bishop to e1.
Yeah, right. So I think that's about all. So which one looks like
That's
it
a
has the
lot.
most potential? Let's start with that one.
Queen to e1.
Yeah, right. Because that is, I think, the only one of the checks we covered that doesn't lose material, right? Okay, so
Yep.
what can he do?
D3.
Yeah, it's his only move actually, so he has to go to d3. So do we have a follow-up there?
Yeah, we do. And I think the follow-up is also checkmate. The follow-up is e3.
Yeah, so queen e3, right. And the
That's
queen is
checkmate.
covering this, and the rook is covering here. Queen is also covering here, and delivering the check here, and the rook is covering this escape square. So that's checkmate. So let's go for that.
Yep.
And then I think we can end it here.
Nice.
We could continue, but yeah, of course we would be here all night, right? No, at some point we would.
I think it was pretty good. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was definitely very good. I think, especially at your rating level, right? You're about 800, 900 rated. We're already at the 17, 1800 rated puzzles at this point, so that's pretty good. So yeah, I think if you practice these things some more, you can definitely improve in your games. So
Yes, you can.
yeah, for now, I think I'm gonna thank everyone for watching, and
I'm gonna do some homework.
we'll see next time if you've improved.
Yes.
So
All right. We'll see.
thank you for being here on this in this channel.
Yeah. Thank
And
you for taking your time to teach me. I'm really grateful for it. Let's improve.
Yeah, no problem. I like doing it, and thanks everyone for watching. If you like this or want to say something about the puzzles, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.